two boats there at the shore of the lake. The fishermen had gone out of them and were washing their nets. Got into one of the boats. Then one belonging to Simon, and asked him to put out a little way from the shore. And he sat down and taught the crowds from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into the deep water and let down your nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we've worked all night long, but have caught nothing. Yet, if you say so, I will let down the nets." When they had done this, they caught so many fish that their nets were beginning to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both boats so that they began to sink. But when Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, "Go away from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man." For he and all who were with him were amazed at the catch of fish that they had taken. So also James and John, sons of Zebedee, who were partners with Simon. Then Jesus said to Simon, "Do not be afraid. From now on, you will be catching people." When they had brought their boats to shore, they left everything and followed him. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
Dear friends, grace and peace to you from God and the Lord Jesus. Amen. Now, how many of you have ever gone fishing? Raise your hands. Ah, that's a pretty good number. Now, maybe you've been fly fishing or you just used one of these rods, but this is what we usually think of when we go fishing, right? You know, you got your rod, your reel, give it a nice cast. Notice I took the hook off today so I wouldn't hit anybody. You know, but you give it a really nice cast, you know, you reel it back in. Sometimes you wait, you wait, you wait, and then maybe you get a fish, and then you're trying to pull it in. Sometimes you get in a really nice one, and sometimes snap. Like what happened to my pole. The line is snapped. No fish. You got to start all over again. You know, that's our image of fishing. And right now, your image of fishing may be a little more like going out onto a frozen lake and doing some ice fishing. But that's not how they fish when you get over into Jesus' land. You see, where he lived, you know, they have lakes, and then they also have really, really big lakes. But when you're over there, and I found when I was there, still to this day, they have these old wooden ships, and they catch by nets. Now, we're not talking commercial trawlers. That's really not fishing. That's corporate commercial. No, what they have is they have these big nets, like what we used when we were in grade school over in Austin. And we would seine the Cedar River, and we would try to see what we caught, and we would put it in these little water-filled pans, and we'd do a count for our biology teacher. The little crayfish, all the little fish. Those are the kind of nets that they use. So the visual we really ought to have is this, you know. Because normally, even when you're fishing with a pole, you need a net to bring it in. But we're talking nets. Now, I didn't have a nice big net to throw over everybody today. But I wish I did. And don't worry, I won't put this over anybody because, oh yeah, it still smells like the last time I fished with it. Unless you really want it. Then certainly, oh sure, you're going to point her out. You know, usually that means I'll get you instead. But these are the physical images we ought to think about back in Jesus' time. So I want you to put yourself back there. See, in Jesus' time, look at that net. It was fishing with a net. It would go down here and be scooping them out. That's fishing. There's no bait, there's no line. Just put the net in, you get what you get. And those nets aren't really that big. They're just about as big as the boat. And on these big lakes over there, some days you may get nothing, even using the big nets. Other days you may do better. In this instance, they had caught nothing. Despite scooping and scooping, you know, all through the night. Their nets were just like these. They were empty. But then Jesus speaks the word. When the word is spoken by the Messiah, things happen. And notice, when he tells Simon, Simon says, well, you know, we haven't caught a thing yet. Yet, because it's you, Jesus, we're going to do it. And lo and behold, amazing, miraculous things happen. Not only do they catch so many fish, they catch so many that they fill up 2 boat-filled fishing boats. These are not your tiny boats that we're on. You know, these are pretty decent-sized boats, you know, probably from the back there. See, the one I was on was about, you know, probably here. You know, those are pretty decent-sized boats. Now, I mean, they're not really wide, you know, but they're pretty decent size. So imagine a boat like that, filled up with fish, so much that not one but 2 boats are about to sink. Now that is miraculous. That is abundance. You know, in the church we talk about abundance. We have abundance and we're supposed to give back abundantly. But that is real abundance. And you get a sense of that up on the screen there. But the good news is that's not the point of the story. That's just the physical sign. Nets going in, coming out with so many fish, the nets literally almost break. And then they go in the boat and they almost sink both boats. Now, what comes next is the real miracle. Jesus then says to them, I will make you fish for people. And here's the thing that happens. Here's the thing that connects us up to those Bible verses we were hearing before. On the one hand, we heard that kind of law from God, right? You know, we're people of law and gospel. We definitely heard it in that Old Testament verse. How people are so rebellious against God, you know, and how God felt about it. And yet, in a sense, Paul echoes that. We heard the prophets say, here I am, Lord. And then we heard messages, we heard that word, love. So there's the God of love. So what happens by the time we get to the gospel with that law and gospel type of message? Well, then we hear somebody who basically tells them, you know, come follow me. Now that sounds good, but think about this. Are any of you in a business that's a family business that has been handed down? Whether it's a farm, whether it's a commercial business, or do you know of anybody in that? And do you know of anybody who has children where it's been handed down to them? Well, on the best day of fishing ever, for Paul and his compadres there, and notice the sons of Zebedee, James and John. So this commercial fishing venture, the people that were in charge, it is their best abundant day ever, and they walk away forever. Now I know some of you people are saying, don't tell my children that. I don't want to hear that message. But listen to that message. What we think is most important, what we tend to rejoice in the most, because, don't get me wrong, I'm very confident they were pretty happy having the best catch ever, and yet they walk away. Not a good business model, right? But Jesus calls them. You see, there it is, the gospel right there. It doesn't matter what we're doing in life. When Jesus calls, we have that opportunity to follow or not to follow. And notice what can happen. In the case of these guys, they end up leaving everything behind. They leave behind all of those things that would get them stuff in life. All those things that would probably get them up a notch from being just mere fishermen. Because fishermen were kind of low, kind of low on the scale in the society. But with that kind of abundance, oh my goodness, they probably could have bettered themselves. They probably could have risen up in society. But instead of doing what comes naturally to humans, they follow Jesus. They're willing to give it all up just on His word alone. Now think about that. How many of us would give up what we're doing right now just on somebody's word alone? I'm guessing not most of us. But what about Jesus? What if Jesus calls any of us to follow Him in a direction we had not anticipated? What if it means leaving behind family, like these guys do, leaving behind your friends, leaving behind the safety even of your hometown to follow? And what about those who are called to stay? Will there be envy? Will there be anger? Well, I have to stay here, that's what I feel called. But you get to traipse all over the world and do all these things for God, but I've got to stay right here. All kinds of things can kind of come up in us. But the message here is that we have to follow, as best as we humans can, Jesus. And to follow His word where He calls us. For some of us, it may be that you follow all over North America, serve all kinds of different churches. People from every place, every corner of the world. For some it may mean you stay right here your whole lives. And you meet people as they come into the community. But whether you go near or far, there's one thing we do. If we follow the call of Jesus, we follow the call of God's love. Because the good news is to share God's love. And I hope you were listening to the video when we started. Because in that video we saw in 1 Corinthians, in the 13th chapter, what love really means. And if we're going to leave our nets, leave behind what we've gotten used to, leave behind all those earthly desires that we think are so important, and actually do our best to follow where Jesus leads us, we're going to end up sharing the good news to people we like and people we don't like. And to be honest, people who will not like you. People who won't like me. And when they are rude, you and I do not get to respond with rudeness. When we might envy their lives as we're trying to share the good news because they seem to have so much better than we do, whether materially or family-wise or what have you, we are called not to be envious, but to always give thanks to God for what we have. We're not to be angry, and once again, we're not to be rude. I think those are hard ones. Because how many times has somebody angered you? Somebody get angry right now. How many times? Have your children been perfect angels? Well, maybe some of you said yes, but I'll ask the Sunday school teachers after today and we'll see. Were you a perfect angel? Are you still today, you and I, are we perfect angels to one another? Sadly, no. That's where we heard the words of the prophet. God knows what's in our hearts. And you notice we began today with our confession of forgiveness to admit that's who we are, God. But then we had the good news that we are forgiven people. Every time we repent, we're forgiven. We go from having empty nets to nets that are so full they're liable to break and sink our own boat of life. And so if we have that, then we're called to share that kind of good news with others. So even if they make us angry and they're angry towards us, we are called not to respond in kind. Well, even Luther struggled with that. And we won't do it perfectly. But it doesn't mean we just continue on that path saying, well, that's just how I feel. That's just how it's going to be. No, we are called, because we're forgiven people, to forgive the repentant others. That's not how the world works. That's the good news that we have to share. Just like those people that were called to fish for other people, that's how we're called to fish for others with God's love. With a message of forgiveness. To love the oldest, to love the youngest. To love the cute and cuddly, and to love the crusty. When we're called to fish for people, we're called to fish for people like you, and you, and you, and you, and me. We're called to fish for everybody. And just like those guys, you may have to leave what's comfortable for you. Maybe emotionally. Maybe physically actually have to leave and go where you feel Jesus calls you. But whether it's literal, emotional, we'll have to leave that comfort zone if you're going to share this good news. Jesus says, come follow me, and I will make you fishers of people. I pray you heed his call and have really good fishing. Amen. We sing